So we're back with another versus video, and this is probably going to be my last versus video for a minute because the trade deadline is approaching and moves are being made as we speak. CJ McCollum is on the Pelicans, Domantas Sabonis is on the Kings, Tyrese Halliburton's on the Pacers. All this shit going on, it's hard to keep up, but I'm going to give my full-fledged review on all these trade moves in a video that I got dropping this Friday, so stay tuned. If you want my immediate reactions to these moves though and my thoughts afterwards, make sure you go and check out my second channel. I dropped my reaction to the CJ McCollum trade, also my reaction to the Domantas Sabonis Tyrese Halliburton trade. So if you're interested on my thoughts on those things, make sure you go and check it out. A lot of people were messaging me about that, so I thought I might as well inform you guys. But as you can see from the title of this video, we're going to continue my versus series with the latest installment, Nikola Jokic versus Joel Embiid, arguably the two best players in basketball this season. Nikola Jokic, who was the reigning MVP of last season, and Joel Embiid, who's known as one of the most dominant players and bigs in the league. So who the fuck is going to win this versus? The Serbian or the Cameroonian? And side note, as somebody that's not even American myself, being Nigerian, I am so happy that we have 3 foreign players that are the MVP frontrunners as we speak: Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. Not only are they foreign players, but they're also bigs. It's nice to see the foreigners getting their just due because for years foreign players have been disrespected, and it still goes on by the mainstream media, but nonetheless I'm gonna give these guys the credit and respect they deserve in this video. And to kick things off, let's get it started with the reigning MVP, and that is Nikola Jokic. I'm old enough to remember when Jokic was that fat guy that people were saying needs to get in shape, because if he does, there's really going to be no weaknesses in his game and he's going to be unstoppable. Well, guess what? Jokic ain't fat anymore, and you guys were right. He is dominating the league. The man was the MVP last year for a reason, and this year he's just picking up where he left off. He's one of the most dominant post scorers in the league with the ability to score any way possible. Post hook, post fade, turnaround, anything you want in the post, he can do it all. Footwork immaculate. He's not only killing you on the inside, but he's killing you on the outside with his perimeter game too, because he's not only one of the better post scorers in the league, but he's one of the best shooters at the big man position ever. I mean, when Jokic does that soundboard shuffle, he can do it from the 3-point line or the mid-range. It don't matter because he can kill you in both ways. He got a nice little handle and can beat some bigs off the dribble, and even if they're stopping him from getting in the paint, he can pull up anywhere on the court. Just ask Rudy Gobert, he got it the hard way in the bubble. But it's crazy that despite his ability as a scorer, that's not even his best attribute offensively. It's his playmaking. Now, when I say that, I understand that his playmaking and scoring goes hand in hand, but the vision and passing ability of Nikola Jokic, man, that shit is top tier all time, not just in the league right now, but ever. Because due to the fact that literally nobody in the league can guard this nigga, if you put a double on him, it's impossible for him to not find the open man. Because whether they're cutting to the rim, open in the corner, top of the key, lob threat, he's gonna find them niggas regardless. And the dimes that he throws out, whether it's no looks, cross court, full court, he can do any pass possible. He truly is one of the best offensive players I've ever seen. Like, honestly, he's in that convo for one of the most skilled offensive players ever, and I think that when he's done, he might be the most skilled offensive player to ever exist. Because with the combination of his scoring and playmaking and even his offensive rebounding, as he's one of the best rebounders in the league defensively and offensively, that package, especially being at the center position and how it's impactful for that Nuggets team that really has a terrible roster around him, it truly is incredible what Jokic can do on a night-to-night basis. And don't sleep on what he's done defensively, because he isn't an elite defender or anything, but he is still one of the better defenders at his position and has earned his way to that status. Because when he came into the league, he was not only considered a bad defender, but some even said he was a liability. And I don't blame them, because if you're bad at the center position, rim protection is the most important aspect of defense. You can't be a successful team with a bad center. And Jokic has improved so much on that side of the ball. His lateral quickness and footwork is a lot better on switches and pick and roll defense. His help defense has improved. He isn't just dropping back all the time, and that's a huge deal on those pick and rolls. He has quick hands, which leads him to be able to get steals and play in passing lanes. And just overall on that side of the ball, every single way imaginable, he is not a liability the way he used to be in the past. And I can comfortably say that he is a plus on that side of the ball. Now, usually at this part of the video where I talk about a player, I would talk about their weaknesses, but it's tough with Jokic because he doesn't really have any. In the past, it would be his defense, but he's improved to being a huge plus on that side of the ball. I mean, if you want to nitpick and say he's not elite on defense, you can go ahead and do so, but I just wouldn't do that because offensively, he's already making up for it. And it isn't like he's bad on that side of the ball. He's actually a good defender this year. And speaking of this season, the shit that Jokic has been on has been crazy. I'm talking he's backpacking these niggas to success. The brother is averaging 26 points a game, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists, along with a steal and a half on 58% from the field, 38% shooting from 3 on over 4 attempts a game, and 82% at the free throw line, which accumulates to a true shooting percentage of 66%. This is all-time efficiency in general, and considering the teammates that he got on the roster, my goodness, this is impressive as fuck. I mean, the guy's second best player is Aaron Gordon. I repeat, Aaron motherfucking Gordon, the franchise player of the Orlando Magic a couple of years ago. But yet, despite that, they're in the top half of points per game and they're 8th in offensive rating in the NBA. You wanna know why? It's because of one man, Nikola fucking Jokic. And if you still don't understand that crazy ass impact, when he's on the court, they have a 118.6 offensive rating, and when he's off, it goes to a 104.1. The best offensive rating on the court and the worst when he's off the court. And that ain't shocking because niggas like Facu ain't helping shit on this roster. And then defensively, when he's on the court, they have a 108.2 defensive rating, and when he's off, it spikes up to a 115.8. These niggas literally can't do shit when Jokic is off the court offensively or defensively. And by the way, I blame Facu because that nigga stinks. He's hurting them on both sides of the ball. Get him off that fucking team. But hey, I'm not trying to be a Jokic cheerleader for long. Let me transition to my boy Joel Embiid, my African brother himself. Everybody's favorite troll in the NBA, Joel Embiid. I gotta say, his personality already makes him a superstar in my book. I remember when I was younger, I used to say if Lance Stevenson was a superstar, he'd be everybody's favorite player. And it looks like God has somewhat answered my wishes because sure, it ain't Lance Stevenson, but God has gifted me with Joel Embiid. He's the ultimate troll that is arguably the best player in the NBA. And I can't really think of a single person who really hates Joel Embiid. Everybody either likes him or maybe you're just a little bit indifferent about him. But no matter how you feel about him, there's one thing that's undeniable, and that's that he's arguably the most dominant player in the league today. Because just like Jokic, there's not a single man on God's green planet Earth that can guard this nigga. I mean, when you got the skill set to pull up anywhere on the court, whether it's from 3, in the mid-range, in the post, and you're just strong as fuck and nobody can deal with you, who can stop you? Like honestly, who is built to stop somebody like that? Because with footwork that's comparable to all-time greats and the shooting ability that rivals some guards and wings in this league, it's a skill set that's truly unguardable. And one thing that separates him from a guy like Jokic or even certain other players in the league is his ability to constantly get to the free throw line. Whether you can blame a lot of that on the refs calling dumb fouls like him flopping, but at the end of the day, he's getting there. And getting to the free throw line is a big deal for big time scorers in this league, especially when it comes to completing your ability as an offensive player. Embiid invites contact in his game, and that obviously incites a lot of fouls. And then when you look at other parts of his offensive bag, he's a good offensive rebounder, but one thing he's added to his game this season has to be the playmaking. He was already a really decent passer, but his decision making, especially out of double teams, it wasn't always up to par. But this year he made it a point of emphasis, and I think he was motivated by what happened in the playoffs last year and Ben Simmons fiasco to do so. There are times he's pushing the ball on the break in transition as a one-man show, and in the half court his decision making has completely improved, especially out of the double teams. He can make the right reads to the shooters on the perimeter, the guys cutting to the basket, and it ain't just simple passes, but sometimes he's doing no looks, cross courts, full courts. He can really do it all, even if he's not an elite level playmaker. The gravity that he has in the paint, combined with the fact that he can shoot the 3-ball and the attention that's given to him, it makes everybody on the court better. And defensively, he also can match what he can do on the offensive side of the ball, because defensively he's one of the best bigs in the league. He's an elite level rim protector and can also go out and guard perimeter players on the 3-point line. He's great with switches. I'm not saying he's like Kevin Garnett or guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, but he's still really good at holding his own on perimeter players. He's good in the pick and roll. His help defense is straight. He can do rotations pretty well. He's a nice shot blocker, nice help defender. Embiid has truly got the whole package when it comes to a defensive player, especially a defensive big in the league. He's an elite elite offensive and defensive player, being an elite two-way player holds its value in the NBA, and Embiid's proving that with the Sixers squad. Because when you look at the players around him, Tobias Harris has regressed, Tyrese Maxey is nice, but he ain't there yet. He's a sophomore player, he's exceeding expectations, but there's still a lot of things that he does need to work on, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You have other guys like Thibault, who's an offensive liability damn near, and I like Seth Curry, but he also is a role player. All the guys around him outside of Tobias Harris are dependent on a guy like Joel Embiid being on the court in order for them to be fully effective. And Embiid has completely answered the call this season, averaging 29 points a game, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists, along with 2 blocks and a steal, shooting 50% from the field, 36% from 3 on nearly 4 attempts a game, and 81% at the free throw line, and he's getting there with 11 attempts a game. And with how efficient he is as a scorer, it accumulates to a nice true shooting percentage of nearly 61%. And to get a grip on how this offense struggles with him off the court, just look at his on-off numbers offensively. When he's on the court, they have a 116.2 offensive rating, which would rank as one of the best in the league, and I believe #1 in the NBA. And when he's off the court, it drops to a 108.6 offensive rating, which would be one of the worst in the NBA. When you talk about backpacking, guys like Embiid and Jokic are doing that this season, and they're doing that at the highest level. But unlike Jokic, there is one key weakness in Joel Embiid's game, and I have to say it is health, because when it comes to Joel Embiid, he is fairly injury prone. Now, to be fair, this season he has been pretty healthy despite getting COVID, but a lot of guys have gotten COVID. I'm not going to knock him for that. But if I'm being real, him being injury prone is still a huge concern for me. I don't care that he's played a lot of games this season and not gotten hurt, because it is just one season. If anything is guaranteed in life, it's death, taxes, and Joel Embiid's getting hurt sometime in the season. I love Embiid, he's one of my favorite players, but I gotta face the reality that he's just really injury prone, and the best ability, like I always say, is availability. And as great as Joel Embiid is, his durability is always going to be a huge question mark. But now that I've broken both of these guys down as what they do on the court, their strengths, their weaknesses, you guys, I think it's time that I come to a final verdict. And I'm not even gonna waste you guys' time. I got Nikola Jokic, and it really comes down to two things. Offensively, I think that there's a pretty noticeable gap, and mainly it's because of the efficiency in Jokic's game and his playmaking. We all know Jokic is a better playmaker and passer. That's not even debatable. I don't even have to explain that. But as far as the efficiency, Jokic is scoring on the level of Joel Embiid, if not just a little bit more, but the efficiency completely makes up for it. Embiid has a 61% true shooting percentage, meanwhile Jokic has 66% true shooting percentage. And mind you, they're both playing with subpar rosters, and I would even argue Jokic's roster is worse. And what's crazy is I haven't even touched on the advanced numbers for Nikola Jokic. Jokic not only clears him, but he clears all of the NBA in so many advanced stats. This year he leads the league in value over replacement player, box plus minus, defensive box plus minus, offensive box plus minus, win shares per 48, win shares in general, offensive win shares, defensive rebound percentage. And last but not least, the most impressive stat of them all when it comes to the advanced numbers is he has the highest PER of all time. So offensively, I truly do not believe it's close. Jokic is a tier above Joel Embiid. Despite Embiid still being a great and elite offensive player, I just believe that Jokic clears him on that side of the ball. Now defensively, I'll give it to Embiid, and that's where the gap really closes between those two, because Embiid is better on the defensive end by far, and Jokic, in my opinion, is just noticeably better. And I know some people are going to hear that and say, okay, then what really is putting Jokic above Embiid? Well, like I said earlier, offensively he's clearing him, and he's having a better season than Embiid in my personal opinion, with a worse roster. And then you get into the individual health of both players, and Embiid is just too injury prone for me to trust him for a full 82 game season, unlike Nikola Jokic, who's on pace to play over 70 games this year, and he's done that over the last 4 seasons of his career, which is something that Joel Embiid has never done in his career. So my final verdict yet again is Nikola Jokic is a better player than Joel Embiid. But you guys let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. I would love to know what you guys think. Do not just say who you think's better between the two, but give your reasoning why. I'm sure it's gonna get a little bit polarizing because this is a very hot topic in the NBA community. So like I said, feel free to let me know your opinions down below. Do not forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell for post notifications. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.